That's just gonna look stupid. At least I guess it's.
Just sit in front of it more.
I can't unless I'm gonna sit on our lap. Like that's where we're at with that. There's just no change in that.
All right.
Oh my.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Austin Eartham.
And I'm Taylor Patton. Welcome to Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're going to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to season 5. We've been in the works here, talking about a couple of things. Friend got married, talked about the podcast at the wedding, and got some new ideas. We're going to try to include stuff that has gone well the last couple of seasons and try to make it flow a little bit better for this season. So we're only going to have a couple. We're hoping to get 2 to 3 guests on this season and spice it up a little bit. But really our format is going to be going back to not necessarily a pure quote, but something that was inspirational or drove us that week for a quote, and then have a discussion on that. And then we are going, instead of having a Bible verse to go along with whatever we are talking about or teaching, we are going to have a moment from the last week where we saw God. We're going to basically have the whole episode be what we've learned the past week in our own lives, because like we say at the start of every episode, we're going to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you get 1% better. So the best way to do that, kind of like we said last season, is to share what we've learned. And then the 1440, we talk about getting 1% better, and as Taylor came up with, that is 1% of your day. So we're going to talk for 1% of our day how we can get better from the last week, or how that's impacted us moving forward, or could impact us moving forward. That's kind of what we're going to do. Let us know what you think. We hope to run with this, and then hopefully more episodes in the future with more guests. And then this episode will be turned into Fridays and kind of talk about what we've learned, podcasts to listen to, all that kind of stuff. We'll still bring you a guest on Tuesday and Thursday, hopefully in the future. So without further ado, episode 82 is live. We need some music going. All right. So last week, I read a book. I'm doing some sports psychology work with a local high school, and I read a book called In the Dark, or When in the Dark, by John Lucas and I think it's Josh Metcalf. They're both mental performance coaches. Anyways, gives us a story. Okay, so when you are in a storm, or just pretend you're in a storm, right? A lot of us want to wait out the storm or whatever it might be. So cows, when it's about to rain, cows actually go away from the storm and try to outrun it. Okay, so cows are going east, the storm's going east. Eventually, the cows can only run so far, and the storm catches up to them, and they have to endure the whole storm together. Okay, on the flip side of that, bison do the opposite. They sense a storm is coming. If the storm's coming east, the bison run west. Yes, that means they run into the storm, but if you are overlapping the storm with your path, you actually have less time in the storm than you would if you waited it out or ran away from it. Point being, in our own lives, we should take adversity, challenges, take it head on, positive mannerisms. We're going to get through it, see the light at the end of the tunnel, because if you avoid it or wait it out, then you're not getting any growth. So head into the storm, make yourself better, embrace the sucks, is what the Navy SEALs would say. I just really like that story. I can just visualize it so good. Like I see it happening.
The storm?
In the bison running. And the cows running.
Bison are cooler than cows anyway.
Well, that's why. They're running into the storm. I just thought that was good.
That kind of goes like, my thought was like something that like motivated me this week, and that was like hearing like it's God's plan, and like, are you willing to like let Him move you in His plan?
Dude,
I think so many people, like just me thinking in my life, like I feel like I stonewall God a lot.
What do you mean by stonewall?
Like He's moving me one direction, and I don't want to move my feet. Like my feet are cemented. Like I feel comfortable. I feel very confident in the things I'm doing, and God's trying to push me out of my comfort zone, push me in different directions, push me into a storm, like a bison, like running into a storm, and I'm a cow. I run away from it. And that's what I'm saying is like, I think God's plan has like so much for you, but when you find comfort in it, like you become a cow. And that's like kind of what I feel that's what motivated me this past week.
So I like that.
Is that like I've seen God moving in my life, but I'm stonewalling. And so I think that it's just me needing to like open up my heart, open up my mind, open up my life to Him.
That's funny because what I wrote down this week, I literally wrote it on Saturday night at church. I wrote down that God will not put you in a situation you're not ready for.
Mm-hmm.
I just think of all the change, like I talked about last season, that's happened in my life the past 6 to 12 months, and every step of the way, I've been ready to endure that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think when we're stuck in the mud or in the cement, like you said, it's a great time to reflect that, hey, God will put you where you need to be, and then we just got to follow through and execute that. It really takes the burden off you about how easy it really is. It's just about taking that leap of faith, because sometimes that's the most scary part. But then the other thing I wrote down with that is, after we move forward, do we have like the song that goes, glory and praise to our God, something right in our way. Okay, you don't know what I'm talking about.
I know the song. I don't know the word. I don't know like that. I know the song you're singing.
But like they were singing at church, and I was just like, how often do we really give all glory and praise to God? You see it on TV all the time, all glory and praise to God, and they are genuinely meaning. Like I saw it on I don't know if it was Women's Softball World Series or what I saw it on, but anyway, they're just so genuine. And I was thinking, how many times do we just sit down and reflect on how lucky we are to be put in that situation and be ready for the situation that we had to endure just now? If we didn't have God, we wouldn't have been ready for it, or we'd struggle more through it.
Right.
So just a thought that I had to go along with yours. Where else? Go ahead.
What are you about to ask me?
I was gonna say, where else did you see God this week? Is there a time where you got a Bible verse or quote, or what do you?
Don't Bible verse. Don't. I mean, that was kind of like my quote thought.
Okay. I'd probably rather not have a Bible verse.
But that,
where you see God.
I think just another thing is like thanking God for like when I say we, like me thinking back, like I like have prayed for like leadership and like being able to lead.
Mm-hmm.
So then I accepted. I don't know if I told the podcast, but I accepted a new position.
You said that you had. We ended the season with you having the interview.
Okay. Yes. Up. Okay. Well, I accepted the position. I got the job. I accepted the position.
Boom, baby, drum roll.
So that was 2 weeks ago, and so then I was like thinking, it was like Friday, Saturday. I was like, I didn't thank them. I was like, I've been praying for it for months to like put me in like a leadership position to help myself grow, and that like I see a lot of potential, like especially like when I work. I see a lot of potential in like people I work with and kids, and that. But not to say that, not to make excuses, but in the job I was in, you constantly on the move, constantly doing new things. So like now I'm in a spot where like I can actually like spend every day with the same people and the same kids, so I can actually pour a lot more into them instead of pouring little drops here and there throughout entire kids. So I feel like I have more potential and depth in the leadership I have, in the ownership I have. But then I was reflecting, I was like, I hadn't thanked God for that I asked for. And that's what I meant, like I felt like I was stonewalling God, was in that. So I kind of reflected in that a little bit, and kind of like why I hadn't. And I think it's because I was like scared of the leadership I have now.
Yeah. Anytime you have a big change or more responsibility, you're just part about like now you're probably way more comfortable than you were 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just because you've been doing the same routine for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's a little easier.
Yeah.
I think that's the main the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
Just starting something new.
Mm. And like, it's crazy because like I accepted the job, and then not even an hour and a half later, I had to have a tough conversation.
There you go. Welcome,
Like,
welcome to leadership.
Right, like, right into it. I had to talk to some people, talk to a person about like kind of like their future and like the company and all that, and what to do and what not to do. And it's tough, but there's a lot of growth.
Yeah.
So it's good.
I feel a little bit of the same way. Well, first of all, because I just started my own business, right? So I've been doing some mental performance training, which is like a synonym for sports psychology, but I can't call myself a sports psychologist because I don't have a doctorate, just a master's. It's still weird to say I have a master's, by the way. I feel proud, but it's not really like a thing, I feel like. Anyways, so like when I started going to Valley, I was a little unsure about how it would go. I mean, I knew the head coach already, and he's a great guy, and he's been awesome and kind of lets me do my thing. But in terms of the leadership stuff, it's important for me. Like I went to their game the other day, and it's important for me to not turn into that head coach type deal. Like I got to stay on the mental performance, positive side. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to coach them on how to be better baseball players, but a lot of times mentally, if you're better, you're physically be better. But I love like taking over and like having the responsibility. I love having my own business because it's on me. If something goes right or wrong, it's on me. I like that. But like I wrote down a whole list of things that they could do better at or they're good at during the game, and I was like, I can't use all this because I'm not the head coach, you know.
Right.
But head coach has been awesome, and I did a session with them today, where I love when I get to be the leader for the 15 minutes, you know. Like they didn't like bring them in. It was kind of awkward because they like didn't start practice or anything. I was like, okay, I called them in. I was like, all right, go in the dugout. We're gonna start here. I was like, okay, is this my? I don't want to overstep my role sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
But I think when the head coach and I communicate, or assistant coach, whatever it might be, when we communicate and we're all on the same page and telling the players the same things, I just kind of use my expertise in the mental side, and they use their expertise in just knowing the baseball side, and then all of us building relationships. Even though wins haven't happened yet, hopefully they will this week. But we're building, and I think that's awesome. And it's fun to be in like a coaching or leadership position and see the same kids all the time, like you said, to have that growth. So it's been really fun for me actually the past 2 weeks, and I was so nervous at the start. Not nervous to like do my job, but one of the things I wrote down this week was like, you got to have outgoing relationships. Like I want to go on the field, just run, jump. I want to play ball with them, you know. I can't really do that because I got to like know who they are and know the room, know the audience. So I was very quiet at the start, and then now I'm starting to know the kids more. So we have conversations at batting practice. We're talking about stuff other than baseball, and I gotta learn relationships quick. I mean, I know a couple of them because I taught them.
Yeah.
But the quicker you learn, the quicker you build relationships. Because I'm not there every single day. I'm there like 2, 3, 4 days a week, depending on the week. And it's super important. Same with the football team I'm working with. I gotta do stuff for them weekly, and just being like, there's 60 to 80 kids I got to learn, and coaches, you know. So it just takes time to learn who they are. But building relationships, I think, is super, super important. And being a leader to the kids is I never would have expected I like it so much. Because normally I'm all about what I can do for myself, but spending some time on them and being a role model with what I do in the weight room or whatever is nice. So I've enjoyed it, spending time with them. But anyways, I just wanted to piggyback off that. I'll get more into that in the 1440. But anyways, the place I saw God this week is pretty much just probably the main thing we're going to talk about is our friend Will's wedding. He got married just over a week ago now. We're both in the wedding, and I reflected a lot the bachelor party the weekend before, and then the actual wedding.
Yeah.
Because here's what Nate and I came up with, and then we've kind of talked about it a little bit. The best times in life have 3 things included in them. Number 1, you have your most loved, whatever you want to call it, friends, family, people around you that deeply care for you or you care for them. And even I would extend it for like wedding type stuff, like their family as well. They become part of you for a week, you know? Like I feel like Will's parents and Kayla's parents became our parents for a week or weekend, I should say.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
This is what it feels like, you know, it's just one big family. Then you got your best friends around. Like I was thinking on my wedding how great it was to have everybody you care for is right there. Like we just get to hang out for 2 days basically. It's so fun. So that you have your friends and family around. Number 2, you have strong emotions felt. Usually strong emotions that last are things like love or depression, deep anger, stuff like that. So emotions that you're moved to like tears of pure joy or sadness, whatever it might be, strong emotions. And I think weddings do that to you. Because like after the wedding, like I asked you if you got what did I say? What was the word I used? You get like depressed or like you get so high and like you want to go on a retreat and you get so high and you come back and it's so low. Like, what's the word I'm looking for on that? I don't know, like just a big old bubble burst. I don't know what the word is. Anyways, like a wedding hangover.
Yeah.
Not literally though.
I'd say like an emotional like hangover.
Yeah. So I like that's something like the time was important to you. Like it moved you.
Yeah.
I always felt that in big soccer tournaments, or I felt it in weddings or family events. And then the last part is somehow it always deals with God. Like wedding being a sacrament, it's definitely my favorite sacrament. It's so cool because if you like, I have a picture of it, but watching, so I would need a tech person. Kayla and Will's, I took a couple pictures of them cutting the cake or dancing, and you can see like the genuine happiness or love they have for each other, and that is just super cool to see. Like for once, it wasn't like because now being married, I have a different outlook on going to weddings and stuff. Like before, it's like, oh, what would I do in mine? Like this would be so cool, blah blah blah. And it like I didn't think about that at all. It was more like, wow, look how happy they are. Look at the love they have for each other. This is a moment I want them to enjoy and remember the rest of their lives. It's probably the best day of their life until they have kids, everybody says. So I just think the wisdom and the emotion and spending time with loved ones, all of that coming together made for an awesome, awesome weekend. And it's like you never want it to end. So it really moved me, I think. So it's a place I definitely saw God for 48 straight hours, I feel like.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Like going into it, like having missed the bachelor party before, like people are like emotionally connected, and that I think I missed part of that. So when I like walked in for like wedding rehearsal, I already felt like I was like playing like if that makes sense. Like I played emotional catch up, and that like I was like I automatically felt like I was behind on like that kind of like relationship, like kind of when you walk through like a brand new, like you're like a brand new friendship and that, like you just see like people already have like inside jokes, or like you walk into a new room and all that, like a new job, and like then you're automatically like subconscious because you have to like think about like where you're at,
or
and then
have a conversation, be involved in.
But then right after dinner, I think I felt good.
That's because people had a couple margaritas in them.
Right. But I really felt it right when in the wedding when they were kneeling, and that right before communion, and that I just think that's a very like authentic moment. And I mean, not that the whole wedding and the whole ceremony and the whole weekend wasn't authentic, but like just that moment. And
I think the lights and stuff in the or the not cathedral,
basilica.
There you go.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then coming out on the weekend, like definitely like watching and all that. Like I guess I felt lonely. It's like it's like a whirlwind of emotions. Like I felt very excited for them in the new chapter, but then like back in like it's like when's my turn, like and that, and then like that's kind of like when I was like thinking, I was like, it's God's plan. Like why am I not embracing that?
Yeah.
Like why am I not embracing it fully? Like I want, like God knows what's on my heart, and that, so like why not pour fully into Him? And that, 'cause at the end of the day, like if I pour fully into Him and my whole heart is trusted in Him, I can't go wrong. My life can't be bad.
Mm-hmm. Actually, be better than you ever even.
That's what I'm saying. But if I continue like to worry and like think about like looking around, like why not me, like, and that like kind of like keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
And that
you're never gonna reach.
Yeah, and I'm never gonna be happy because I'm continuously trying to reach out and achieve something else. So that kind of brought me back to home base.
Yeah. Yeah, what kind of brought me back is because I was like, obviously my wife was in Texas doing stuff for school, so she wasn't able to be there.
Yeah.
And it was the first wedding that we've like been invited to after our weddings 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny with the couples game or whatever they play. I danced with Nate and Brooke, and then they kicked me out, and then I tried to dance with another couple, and then my time got up because we were like I would been like the third couple out anyways.
Yeah, 32 seconds.
Yeah, we weren't first though. So it was hard not having her there because it really brings you back to like that day, and you want to relive that day. And like it's such a hard emotion to describe, but it's like nothing. Like it's pure joy. Like nothing can relate to it. So I felt that for Kayla and Will, especially like once the night's over. Like it kind of sucks that the party's over, but like your marriage is like just beginning. You know, like you still have the open gifts. Obviously, you're gonna spend the night together. You go on a honeymoon. Like all that kind of stuff is super fun. And honestly, it kind of feels like that. Like when my wife got back from Texas, it feels like you're back on the honeymoon for 2 or 3 days. But after wedding, it was difficult because I didn't come home to her. I came home to doing nothing, and I actually did some kick lessons the next day. So what really gets me out of it, though, like I can see how people get depressed like all the time. Like I had to open the shades. Like I had to make sure I was doing something. Otherwise, I just like felt like crap. But what really got out of it is that God wouldn't want me to like sit there do nothing. You know, like go on with your life, like enjoy it, smile because it happened, and then what do you got to do to be able to feel that moment again, type of deal. Maybe not in a wedding setting, but how else can you how can I get my best friends together? How can I involve God? And how can I be moved emotionally? Sometimes you just go back to work on having something else to look forward to. I think that's like an extreme optimism. Research shows that extreme optimism is contagious, and people live longer, have better well-being, less anxiety, all that kind of stuff. So it was just it was really a good learning experience too. For both of us in different ways, but it was really good. So that's where I saw God, I guess. Pretty easy to see God at the wedding. We ate way too much cake though.
Yeah, I will give it to Costco. I think that was the first time I ever had their cake.
No, it's so good, isn't it?
It's top tier.
Yeah, I think the vanilla is better than the chocolate, but it's so good. You should have their it's either red velvet, dude.
Interesting.
Fire. Or their chocolate mousse. They got all sorts of good cake, dude. We were at Costco the other day just looking at stuff just to see what we should get, but we didn't. We just had free smells. Good. But anyways, what else with the wedding? Anything? I feel like I'm forgetting something about it, but I didn't. I wrote the pure happiness. Oh, yeah. Here's a good question. Well, we're move that to the 1440 actually.
Okay.
So that's kind of how to do it better. What else? Anything?
I don't really have it much.
Now with the wedding, just moving on.
Yeah. I'd say another
Where else you?
thing, like Like I found like a lot of growth in like longboarding, skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like because I am not, because I didn't grow up skateboarding, so I kind of had to self teach
Mm-hmm.
and that, and so like I board later on at night, like when there's not a lot of cars or a lot of movement.
Yeah.
And so just being able to like, I don't know, be vulnerable, especially like just board. Like I live in a pretty big complex, so like anyone can just sit out and like what the balconies all face like kind of like the road.
Yeah, and just watch it.
Yeah, and so like it's like a weird vulnerability, but it's very freeing to me, like.
Yeah.
And like I just put on headphones and I don't go very fast, but I go and just like again, the trying stuff new, like it's very exciting and it's like a weird time. Like I'm just by myself. Like I'm not on my phone. I'm not like texting anyone. Like I'm just, I don't know, freely strolling through life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think it's hard to do things in front of people like that. Like I struggle. Like I always want to do agility, but I'm always afraid to say, like, "Oh, people are gonna watch me. I'm doing it, and there's a dirt field, blah blah blah." That's something I struggle with. But it's also good. You probably get some like stress relief out of it too.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, put your headphones in.
Yeah.
Relax. It's nice evening. Sun's going down. Golden hour.
Yeah.
It's cooling off. You know. Already had dinner. Just chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it. It's a very like good freeing feeling.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too when my wife was gone. It's just like, because at night I was like, wow, what do I do tonight? I have nobody to talk to. I was like, nobody to hang out with. I was like, man, when the boys lived together, we'd be playing Call of Duty right now. Windows would be open. We'd be having smoothies or popcorn. I was like, we could like talk about how much there's nothing in the fridge and I need to get ice cream. I was like, man, like being by yourself I was like struggling for a minute.
Right. Especially when you haven't been for a while.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's such a different. Like sometimes you need a break from people, but after like she was gone like 12 days. That did not need to be 12 days. After 2 days, I was like,
when you're back.
Yeah. Right. I was like, it's just weird to be by yourself or whatever. But yeah, it would be nice to go outside. Like I wish we had a deck we could go out on and have a drink or whatever. It was just, I love like. At the time we're recording this too, it's like that time of day.
Yeah.
It's my favorite time, especially in the summertime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for the CWS. Speaking of summer.
Yeah.
I wrote that down.
It is good. I've been following it, dude.
And that I kind of been following it a little bit, but I'm excited for this next weekend, going home. Because it's just always been a home staple. So like the CWS is just like a very like home feeling.
Yeah, it's just a weekend of the year you always look forward to.
Yes. I was just texting Tyler the other day. I was like, the CWS is like one of my favorite weekends in the whole year. Yeah. They're like the favorite weeks, depending on how long I'm able to be home.
Yeah. Yeah, personally, I like Christmas.
See, I can't do the cold.
Yeah,
I like Christmas, but the cold just ain't it. If we had celebrated Christmas and
no, dude, I've been in a warm climate for Christmas, basically like last year, and it's not fun. It just doesn't feel right. You at least need fake snow.
I can YouTube fake snow and be fine, and by sitting out or like sitting next to a pool.
Speaking of like College World Series and sports, though.
Messi coming to the freaking United States is awesome. Sorry, that's probably not what you thought it was, but I just had to throw it out.
I just had to pause this because we were at our time limit.
That's terrible that they didn't hear that.
I know. You can repeat.
I didn't hear it.
Taylor said that I had to pause it because we can only record for so long unless you guys want to pay for our subscription.
Messi coming to the United States is huge.
That is awesome. Like
they sold out all the tickets. They're in a temporary stadium.
Yeah,
they have no security.
Do you say their season ticket sales went up 1,000%? No.
Yeah.
1,000.
I know.
That's 10 times.
What was it? 2-3 months ago when I texted you, I was like, "You see Messi's rumored to come to Miami?"
Yeah, and
you're like, "That's not gonna happen."
I was like, "Not for 2-3 at least years," and now it's happening. We got it. Tickets for his first game isn't even against an MLS team. It's against some like Mexican league, like the La Liga, or not La Liga, Mexican
probably.
Liga or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like $500. That's more expensive than the NBA Finals. It's not even a game that matters.
I think that just like shows how big of an impact,
Dude,
like
yeah,
A, soccer, and B, like
they were
having one of the biggest superstars.
I'm telling
in
you,
the
if
world.
you want to be a globalized icon, soccer is a sport to play.
Yeah.
Because like, think about this. They're talking on First Take, which is I love. My wife hates it. So does my brother, but he watches it. Anyways, they're talking about how Stephen A. Smith. He's like, he got 4 million followers, and they were joking with him. They're like, yeah, Messi's franchise now has 5 million. They had one. So Miami FC had 1 million followers. Messi joined. Now they have 5 million. And then Stephen A's like, well, I still got almost more, and I'm just one person, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, Messi has 467 million Instagram followers. Think about the power. I wrote this down, too. Think about the power you have and 467 million people following you. You post something, like, you can, like, that's changing the world.
Especially after
half of them reach.
Yeah, especially after, what, six months prior, he just won the World Cup.
Yeah. I mean,
is that right?
It was last summer or last November. Yeah, so 6 months ago. Yeah. 7 months ago. Yeah, because I was on my honeymoon.
Yeah.
When it was
What is it? World Cup?
Yeah,
right? I was right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't.
So think about, we got to see him though. It's the greatest sports, like the greatest soccer player of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I like Ronaldo more, but I think Messi's a better soccer player. He's like 5'7".
Right.
We got to see a game somehow. I don't know how, but it's. I'm willing to pay $500 if I have to. I'm not going to Miami. I better be getting on a cruise ship or something afterwards.
I was looking to. They come to Chicago. They come.
Or St. Louis or Kansas City.
I was looking.
Minnesota.
They were all stupid expensive.
Yeah, right now. I'm waiting until next year. When it hopefully slows down a little bit. But anyways, yeah, that is a sports icon. But anyways, my question, I saw it on. So Steph was gone, right? So I needed something to do. So I rewatched the 30 for 30 of The Last Dance, all 10 episodes. Just binged it in 2 nights. Well, a day and night, because I had Friday off. So I wrote down. It talks about this. What does a lot of people want to be great, but Michael Jordan was saying, what does greatness require?
Sacrifice.
And they were talking about that a little bit. So I was just thinking, like, everybody has these big goals. I actually did like a Wisdom Wednesday or Motivation Monday about it. Everybody wants to have these high lofty goals, and you should set high goals. But how many people, when they write the goal, think about the work that it's going to take to achieve that goal?
Yeah.
The higher the goal, the more work you have to put in. The harder it is to reach, but the more satisfaction you get when you're done, right? But it was really interesting to me. What does greatness require? So, for instance, another episode of Greatness, which this is going to be a hot take. I know we had hot takes the other day. You might not even know about it. Oklahoma softball. I've been watching a lot of baseball and softball lately, obviously. Oklahoma softball, the last 10 years, they have won 6 national championships. They had 1 year that stopped during COVID. Their last 4 seasons, COVID year, they started off 20-4 before the season ended. Then they went like 56-3 for the national championship. Then they went 58-2 with the national championship. And this past year they went 59 or something like that and won and have a 53-game win streak. That's literally the greatest team of all time. I don't care what sport. That's better than Michael Phelps' Olympics. That's better than the Celtics in the 70s or 80s, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's better than LeBron. That's better than Michael Jordan's teams. That's better than all of them. That's better than Brazil in the World Cup. No team is that good.
Even Alabama?
Yeah, it's better than Alabama, better than Clemson. It's almost as good as Mid-Prairie Soccer. Almost, actually. Mid-Prairie is probably number 1. We beat a team 29-0 one.
Y'all never met Jeremy Lin.
But seriously, think about that. Like, how hard that – better than the Patriots? Like, out of the last 5 years, they have – they've lost – they're like 190-8.
That's wild.
That's like
too bad. Probably
30-game win streaks.
Too bad. Probably only about 38 people know about this. I'm sure a lot more than that.
Now at least 39 are gonna know it now. 40 if you include you.
Right. I didn't know about it.
I'm just saying, so what does greatness require? I mean, one, they got to have a culture. They got to put the effort in. They got to understand their teammates. They have to naturally be talented. You can get into all sorts of different categories of what greatness is required.
Yeah.
I just think it's super interesting, and we can talk about it more in the 1440 of what that actually might be. But something to think about is, for us, what is greatness for Taylor? What is greatness for Austin? What is greatness for Jimmy who's listening to this? Because everybody's greatness is a little different. Why are we put on this earth? You know?
Yeah.
I just think it's something to think about, because if we get to the point where we're all setting goals, do we put in the effort to set those goals? And I always talk about the circles lining up with your goals and actions, all that kind of stuff. Are you getting closer to whatever greatness is for you? I just think it's a good reflection question and should actually be taken seriously. Like Oklahoma softball, that's pretty amazing. Anyways, I thought that was good. You got anything else? I got one more thing. And that's it.
Yeah. What's your last thing?
Last thing is this is a rant. No, the rant Austin doesn't like.
Okay.
So, like when you apply for jobs and it says like, oh, you need this much experience to do it, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and every job says that. Like, there's no entry jobs anymore.
Yeah.
So I saw a quote the other day that said, you can't be qualified if you've never done it. Right? So everybody says you need these qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get qualifications, you need to have an opportunity to be able to do it, to work. The best way to gain experience is to actually go in and do it.
Yes.
Sitting in front of a lecture hall and listening to a teacher does not make you that much better.
Yeah.
Going out in your field and working on coding, working for a company, going to a marketing sales pitch, playing against the best people in soccer or whatever your level is, getting in the batting cage, taking swings, best way to drive a car is not do a simulation or play Xbox or take a test. Best way to learn how to drive is to, hopefully not that unless you're really good, is to get out in a car and drive.
Yeah.
So I hate, and that's a strong word, how everybody says people aren't qualified for something. Of course they're not qualified. How do you think they're supposed to get there?
One step at a time.
That's what I'm saying. So give them a chance.
Yeah. But when we do surgery out here.
Okay. Obviously, we're not going to do a life or death situation.
Yeah.
But let's say somebody goes through med school, whatever, and they need to do open heart surgery on somebody, and the patient knows that it's their first time.
Tossing clippers.
It's clippers. So we're giving them a haircut.
You have to break open the rib cage.
I know, you gotta cut them open.
That's the thing. Give me that thing. Tell me to do that thing.
I don't know if they just call them clippers. Maybe they do. I imagine like a big ribbon cutting ceremony, like a scissors.
I'm pretty sure they use actual like bolt cutters type thing.
Yeah, it's like heavy duty stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Give me that job. Let me practice that thing.
But anyways, they've practiced it before on other people, like doing stuff,
Right.
Like sometime has to be your first time. Like live, doing it, making money for it, whatever you want to call it. It just bugs me that people say that you're not qualified for it. The only way to get qualified is to go out and do it. So if you're scared to do it, go out and do it. If your company doesn't want to hire you, well, screw them. Like, the only way to get experience is to do it. So it just really bugs me. That's all I got. I probably had something else, but I don't know.
You don't know without trying.
Yeah, you don't know what to do.
So I don't know. Again, it comes with like no matter like what stipulations comes behind it. Like who's to tell you that you can't do it? Yeah, you're not able to do it. You won't do it. And then I agree. That's what I got. I'm ready for the 1440.
All right. So on the 1440, what we're going to do is talk about a little bit of the things we've talked about now, only how to make it better in the future. So like I'm going to talk about what I think is key to marriage because Will and Kayla got married. Taylor talk about it too. Talk about leadership a little bit, and then how Taylor was maybe stonewalling God, and how he can get better at that in the future. Just stuff we've gone through here. So appreciate you guys listening. Let us know what you think of the new format, and catch you on Thursday.
Yep. Have a great day. Love you. Bye.